What if the real secret behind Rome was not just its legions, but the way it made power feel permanent, not temporary, not fragile, permanent, because Rome did not become powerful by accident. It grew from a small city on the Italian peninsula into an empire that controlled lands from Britain to North Africa, from Spain to the Middle East. And the shocking part is this: many ancient states had armies, many built roads, many collected taxes, but Rome combined these things in a way that made it harder to defeat than almost any rival in history. So how did a single city do this? And why did Rome last so long while other great powers vanished? To understand that, we have to go back to the beginning, before the emperors, before the marble temples, before the empire itself. Rome started as a republic, not an empire. Power was divided among elected leaders, senators, and assemblies. That system was messy. It was full of conflict. But it had one huge advantage: it could absorb defeat, learn from it, and keep going. That ability to recover became one of Rome's greatest strengths. At first, Rome was just one local power among many, but it was surrounded by enemies, rivals, and dangerous terrain. Instead of depending on a single ruler, Roman society built institutions that could organize people quickly in war and in peace. When a crisis came, Rome could raise armies, repair losses, and push forward again. It did not need to be perfect. It only needed to be relentless. And then came the military machine. Roman soldiers were not just fighters. They were trained builders, engineers, and laborers. A Roman army could march into a region, win a battle, and then turn around and build a road, a fort, or a camp. Every night they fortified their position. Every campaign moved with discipline. This made Roman armies incredibly hard to surprise and even harder to destroy. But discipline alone does not build an empire. Rome also knew how to organize conquest. When Rome defeated an enemy, it often did something smarter than simply crushing them. It offered alliances, local privileges, and eventually citizenship to some conquered peoples. That meant many communities did not feel completely erased by Roman rule. Some became part of the system. Some rose inside it. This was not kindness. It was strategy. Rome understood that a growing empire needs more than fear. It needs loyalty. And loyalty was helped by something people still see today: roads. Roman roads were not magical. They were practical, straight where possible, built to last, and designed for movement. They let armies travel faster. They let officials send orders. They let trade spread across the empire. A road was not just a road in Rome. It was a line of control. The same idea shaped Roman engineering everywhere. Aqueducts brought water into cities. Bridges crossed difficult terrain. Sewers and drainage systems made urban life possible on a massive scale. Rome was not just strong because it conquered land. It was strong because it could manage land after conquest. That is a very different kind of power. And then there was trade. Rome sat at the center of a huge network of sea routes and land routes. Grain came from Egypt and North Africa. Goods came from Spain, Gaul, the Levant, and beyond. The empire was connected by ships, roads, warehouses, ports, and taxes. This flow of goods fed cities, paid soldiers, and kept the state running. In a world where famine could destroy a kingdom, Rome built systems that moved food and wealth across great distances. Still, none of this would have worked without law. Roman law became one of Rome's most lasting achievements. It helped create a shared system across a huge and diverse empire. People in different regions could still be under the same basic legal framework. That made administration easier. It made disputes more manageable. It made Roman rule feel, at least in part, predictable. Predictability may not sound exciting, but for empires it is powerful. Of course, Rome was not unstoppable. Its success also created new problems. The bigger the empire became, the harder it was to govern. Armies became more expensive. Borders grew harder to defend. Political rivals fought for control. Emperors rose and fell. Civil wars drained money and trust. Inflation and economic pressure added even more strain. And yet, even when Rome was under pressure, it kept adapting. This is one of the most important reasons Rome became so powerful. It was not a single invention, a single genius, or a single battle. It was a system of systems. Military discipline, public works, roads, law, trade, citizenship, administration, each part made the others stronger. But here is the biggest revelation. Rome's true power was not just that it conquered people. It was that it turned conquest into a working machine. It did not simply take land. It connected land. It did not simply win wars. It built the structures that made future wars easier to win and future expansion easier to manage. That is why Rome could start as a city and become a world power. And that is also why its influence never really disappeared. Even after the empire changed, split, and eventually fell in the West, Roman ideas survived in law, architecture, government, language, and military organization. The empire ended, but the model remained. So when we ask what really made Rome powerful, the answer is not just swords or emperors or conquest. It was the ability to build a system bigger than any one ruler. A system that could move armies, move goods, move laws, and move history itself. That is the Roman secret. And once you see it, you start to understand why the ancient world was never the same again.